again, everybody. Welcome to Gamecock Central Radio. Emerson Phillips with Gamecock great Joe Rhett for a men's basketball report today. South Carolina now 17-4 on the year and 7-1 in the SEC. The Gamecocks are tied for first in the Southeastern Conference with the Kentucky Wildcats, and the Gamecocks are up to number 19 in the new Associated Press poll that came out today. The Gamecocks a 63-53 winner at Missouri on Saturday night. It was Carolina's first ever win at Mizzou Arena. And, Joe, defense travels. We talked about it. Carolina shot the lights out last week in the win over Auburn. Didn't shoot it nearly as well Saturday night, but that defense continues to be the calling card of Frank Martin's ball club here in 2017.
Exactly. That's the identity of this USC basketball team, and that is good self-defense. And it was awesome to see that the defensive team did travel, and they played extremely well. Honestly, this wasn't a really good Missouri team, but they still made it very, very difficult for the Missouri team to score. It was close early, but Senderis, of course, once again stepped up. Rakeem Felder, he played well, and it wasn't a great game offensively, but it was enough balance between a lot of the guys with 9 and 6, 8 points here and there. But it was a good win. I tell you, road games like that are tough because sometimes you got to throw out the schedule. I know that's probably part of Frank Martin's pregame speech. Don't look at this team. Don't look at the schedule of this team. We need to go out and handle our business, and that's what they did on Saturday.
Missouri beat the Gamecocks last year at Mizzou, and that was a game that really hurt the Gamecocks' tournament chances. When the regular season and the conference tournament were over, the loss to Missouri certainly hurt the Gamecocks' chances of getting into the tournament last year. Of course, the Gamecocks did not get into the tournament last year, so they made sure to get it right at Missouri on Saturday night. 63-53 the final. Rough start for the Gamecocks. They missed their first 5 shots. Missouri jumped out to a 7-0 lead, and the Gamecocks finally settled down, wound up taking a 26-22 lead into the locker room at halftime. And, Joe, the Gamecock defense has been one of the best in the nation against the three this year. The Gamecocks defend the three better than anyone in the country, and Missouri shot 1 for 17 from 3 in this ball game. 1 for 17.
That's amazing. Each game you go by, you see some teams not making any threes, but historically, I think Florida early, first time they hadn't made a three in 20-some years, and it's just amazing to see how this team, the game of basketball has changed, for one. Teams to shoot more threes. They're not getting the ball inside. So I guess the point of emphasis for this USC basketball team is to crowd shooters and make it very uncomfortable for them. So they jump out on these guys and don't allow them to, shoot open threes. And I think that's the thing that Frank don't like, open threes. And every time you see these guys shooting threes, and they're jumping out on them. So they're shooting more threes now, but the defense is definitely making it so hard for opponents against this Gamecock team. It's good to see they're doing so well, and one of the best defensive teams in the country, and being number 19 again in the country, we slide up the pole. We continue to do what we need to do. EP, I think we will be rock solid in the tournament this year.
All right, the Gamecocks were led by Sindarius Thornwell, the senior from Lancaster, South Carolina. Double-double, his 9th career double-double, 16 points, 11 rebounds on 4 of 15 shooting. Thornwell, 1 of 7 from 3, but 7 of 7 at the foul line in 30 minutes for Thornwell. And it was Rakeem Felder, the other Gamecock player, in double figures. 13 points in 19 minutes of action for Felder. He continues to shoot the three well. He was 3 of 4 from downtown and 4 of 7 overall from the floor in this ball game. 9 different Gamecocks scored. Let me give you a scoring rundown here. 9 points for Dwayne Notice, who hit 3 threes in the ball game. P.J. Dozier, cold shooting night, 3 of 13. He finished with 7 points. Chris Silva had 7 points and 6 rebounds. It was 3 points for Justin Mackey. Mackey hit his only shot of the ball game. 4 for Gravitt, 2 for Coatsar, 2 for Tamarcus Blanton. So the Gamecocks 17-4 and 7-1 in the SEC. And Joe, the Gamecocks, hitting a pretty favorable stretch in the schedule right now, as they'll get LSU on the road coming up on Wednesday night this week. 9:00 tip-off in Baton Rouge Wednesday night, and LSU is just about as bad off as Missouri. Joe, Missouri's now lost 12 in a row. They're 0-8 in the league, and LSU not doing much better. LSU has lost 7 games in a row, and they're 1-7 in conference play, and their only SEC win was against Missouri.
That's funny, yeah. It tells you how bad the Missouri team is. LSU right now is a team that's struggling. You look at their roster from the past 2 years, they lost several guys to the NBA. Of course, last year they lost the number 1 player in the draft last year, and prior to that, 2 years ago, they lost, I think, 2 other guys to the NBA. Rebuilding year for that team. They normally have a lot of athletes that can play and run the floor pretty well and present a lot of problems for different opponents. But they're struggling this year. But the thing about this Gamecock team, we on another road trip, and of course Missouri's alone. And I think this one will be tough because it's a midweek game, and you're trying to stay focused at the task at hand, as far as handling schoolwork, getting your mind ready for a long road trip during the middle of the week. From my experience, those have always been some of the toughest ones. Just trying to stay focused and keep focused. But the team is feeding off of not being in the tournament last year. They're feeding off of taking advantage of a somewhat down SEC conference this year. So it's just so many different little things that I think this team is really, really motivated. Like you see different guys stepping up every night. The steady one is, of course, is Sindarius, but every night there's no other guys stepping up, and I like the way this team's doing. This is a very, very special team, and like I said, any night, somebody else will step up and take advantage of the opportunities when they're given to them.
Basketball report here with Gamecock great Joe Rhett. I'm Emerson Phillips. This is Gamecock Central Radio. We invite you to download the GCR phone app that's on the App Store and on Google Play. You can subscribe to our podcast for free. Search for Gamecock Central Radio on iTunes, SoundCloud, and other popular services, or just visit radio.GamecockCentral.com. So it's South Carolina at LSU, another long road trip for the Gamecocks. But, Joe, you can't ask for a much better two-game road swing than the bottom two teams in the league standings. Missouri 0-8 in the conference. Carolina beat them Saturday night. And now LSU next to last in the league at 1-7, coming up Wednesday night, 9 o'clock tip. And, Joe, LSU has not just been losing. I mentioned they've lost 7 in a row. They lost to Texas Tech over the weekend, 77-64. And by recent standards, that's actually a pretty good showing for LSU because last week they lost to Florida 106-71. And the game before that, they gave up 99 points in a loss at Arkansas. They haven't just been getting beaten. They've been getting blown out.
Yeah, they have. And I haven't seen a whole lot of them, but like you said, I'm keeping up with the box scores and everything. And it's just one of those years for LSU. Like I said, they lost a lot of guys to the NBA, and they hadn't been replaced. So, for one, this Gamecock team cannot take this team for granted, as they did Missouri. You got to go in Baton Rouge and handle business. It's so hard. I mean, I don't care where you go or what the schedules are. It is so hard to win road games, especially in the SEC. So we need to go in with the same mindset that we did on Saturday and take each game one at a time. And if we do that, I think the outcome will be just as Saturday. It'll be a little close early, but I think we'll pull it out towards the end.
All right, Wednesday's game will be on the SEC Network, 9 o'clock Eastern Time tip-off in Baton Rouge. And then we've got a Saturday game at the Colonial Life Arena. In fact, the Gamecocks will come on for 2 straight in league play. The Georgia Bulldogs, who are 4-4 in the conference, come in for a 2 o'clock tip Saturday. That game will be on ESPN2. And next week, Tuesday night game next week, the Alabama Crimson Tide come in for a 6:30 start, also on the SEC Network. That's Tuesday night next week, South Carolina hosting Alabama. So, Joe, we're starting to move through the conference schedule here. The Gamecocks are in very good shape right now, tied with Kentucky for first place in the SEC. And even though the Gamecocks' only loss in league play was to Kentucky, the Gamecocks got a big boost last week when Kentucky lost to Tennessee, and now Kentucky backed that up with a home loss to Kansas. So Kentucky's actually lost 2 games in a row right now, and there's a real possibility that the Gamecocks could go on to win the Southeastern Conference this year, but they got to keep playing good ball.
You're exactly right, and I think we can do it. As you look down towards the schedule, I said that a couple of weeks ago, I think that we could run the table. Being number 19 in the country right now, we could, take each game one at a time. There's a few games that I'm a little concerned about. I'm a little concerned about Georgia game on Saturday. They're a tough team. They always give us a hard time, and I think a couple of weeks down the road, I think we go to Florida. And the only 2 that I'm really, really concerned about as far as opposing us a problem down the road.
Yeah, Georgia beat the Gamecocks 3 times last year, but Georgia lost to the Gamecocks at Stegman Coliseum in Athens just a few weeks ago. So the Gamecocks do have Georgia coming up on Saturday, and South Carolina will play at Florida on February the 21st, late in the SEC schedule. So just a couple of games that we're looking forward to here. But up next, South Carolina and LSU, and Joe and I will be back with you after the LSU game. We'll give you a full preview of the Georgia game that's coming up Saturday at 2 o'clock. Joe, good talking hoops with you again today. Thanks for your time.
No problem, EP. Have a good one.
All right, that's my man Joe Rhett, Gamecock Great. I'm Emerson Phillips. This is Gamecock Central Radio. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you later in the week.